I'm just gonna fucking like take the swamp mud and like wipe it all over me. And I'm just gonna do this like seductive fucking dance in the swamp and let me roll around like a pig in shit, you know? And then be like, why? Why is that?
Why me? I'm laughing because I've been there.
Yeah, same.
I loved it. I was like, do you know how hard I have it? Do you know how hard
so hard.
We're back.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast.
No one's letting you forget in the club. That is for fucking sure.
Are you in lots and lots of pain? How bad is the pain?
Fuck you fucking asshat.
Having fun dancing in the floor.
Number one, why am I calling you? Number two, you ruined everything.
Oh, so good. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Club Unhinged Podcast, episode 2. Hi.
Hello. I feel like I need to do that at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, we have to. I really have this dream that everyone in the club takes on our meowing and they just start like greeting each other with meows, and we just create this whole movement of authenticity, but also a movement of meowing. It's literally my dream.
Whenever we answer the phone with each other, we're like meow. I don't even say hi. It's just meow. It's like the hi. It's like, what's up, girl? Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, this is the authenticity season. Like, this is how we roll. And today we wanted to, well, we were going to talk about something else. And then we got on with each other and we both were just not feeling that fucking vibe.
Nope.
And I think that's so perfect for what we teach inside the club, because to be in the most authentic expression of yourself, you have to follow what's true. And if we had gone with the other topic we were going to roll with today, we both would have had to like kind of force it. We would have had to like override the actual energy that's there. So we decided to scrap that, and maybe we'll do it next week. Maybe we'll do it another time. We don't know. But we're going to roll with the energy that's here today. And we are about to go into a Scorpio moon tomorrow. And that is like transition, transformation, change. Like, I don't know about all y'all, but like Christine and I have been in this massive like up level change, like moving into different seasons and different levels of our life. And we want to talk about that process when you're making big changes in your life, when you're going through like a season of transition, what that actually looks like and what can come up and what's been coming up for us. And so that you know that you're not alone in that, but also we can just have a more real conversation about change, because we all know change is inevitable. It's the one constant thing. And also, it's the thing that a lot of us resist, if we're really honest. And we want the changes on the other side, but we don't want to walk the transition to get there. So, welcome. We're going in today.
We're going in. Well, I love this. I mean, like you mentioned, you and I had a very different topic planned for today. And when we got on the call, you and I just kind of riffing before this, you were like, how are you? And I started to share like how I actually was and some of this like deep stuff. And then you were like, you started talking and I'm like, this is our conversation on the podcast today. Let's just do it in real. Let's stamp this shit in real time. And let's actually talk about it. Cause there's days I'm not in that like more vulnerable state. I'm more in the like zing, zing, fucking ping, ping, like let's go energy. And today I'm in that little more lean back, little more raw, a little more vulnerable state. It feels like collectively there is a lot of transition and a lot of change happening right now. And it feels like people are really being called, including myself as well, to like really let go of the gripping and the clasping of what was in order to usher what is trying to come in. And that's a really big thing present in my life right now around endings and beginnings. And oh man, it doesn't matter how much prep you do mentally, physically, emotionally. It really, when the time comes and that like moment where, you're standing at the door of transition and change, walking through that door is like, it's
Scary.
still scary and it's still hard, even though you can mentally, like I share all the time about what's going on for me in my life. And I can say it from a very cognitive place. But
Mhm,
when it hits the body and your body's ready to process it, it's a whole other fucking thing.
mhm. Yeah,
Mm,
and I feel like even getting sick is such a part of this process. Like when you're about to go into a season of change, and perhaps I know for myself, like I'm a manifesting generator, so I have a fuck ton of energy, and I need to burn that energy every single day or it starts to kind of go dark inside, and that's not a fun place to be. And so I can distract myself really, really well. Like, and fantasy patterns have been something that I have utilized in seasons of extreme chaos and extreme trauma in my life.
mm,
So if I pair the constantly staying busy and doing a ton of stuff with fantasy patterns of like, oh yeah, like one day, someday, like it's all going to change, it's all going to be great, then I can miss feeling what I need to feel in the moment. And my body will be like, yo, bitch, you need to fucking feel this. You aren't going to get to the other side until you actually like felt what you need to feel, and also attune your body to this next level of expansion, which is hard for me to do if I'm going a million miles a minute. So I find it really interesting that you got sick at the tail end of your trip. And also, like, my back just started hurting out of nowhere yesterday. And like it hasn't done this in a long time. And
mm,
when my back aches, like it makes me feel kind of fluish sometimes.
mhm,
Ugh, I don't love this energy. I don't love it, but it forces the slowdown, it forces the gear down so that I can tend to what actually needs to be tended to.
mm,
And last night I went to a movement class with one of our friends, India, and she's right on track with us. She's ending her chapter in Vancouver and moving to another city. And it was her last movement class in this city.
mm,
And I found her classes and her movement at a time where I was going through my last big transition. So in 2016, when that whole implosion of my relationship happened, and her movement classes were the medicine for me. And I've been journeying with her for the last 8 years, with all the different types of movement that she's conjured up and created. And it's been such medicine for my heart and my soul and my body.
mm,
And being in that room last night with like 50 other people who were saying goodbye,
mm,
like all of us we were moving and breathing in tandem. It was fucking wild, like how
mm,
the breath synced in the entire room, and like we're all in this energy of like endings and beginnings. Like the
mm,
ending and the beginning are happening at the same time, and we're having to hold both. And we're also doing it while we're moving and breathing. It was fucking wild. It was so beautiful, but
mm,
really tender. And I was supposed to have a call with my mom after, and I texted her. I was like, I need to honor myself tonight. I'm not going to be able to be like a really great conversationalist tonight
yeah.
and hold space because my energy feels so tender. Like I feel really open, but I also feel really tender and really vulnerable, and I need to be with the magnitude and the significance of this transition because it's not just her moving away, it's closing of a chapter of like that healing process of the woman that I was in
Mm,
2016 to the woman that I am today. And like where we're going with Club Unhinged is a brand new elevation. It's a brand new chapter. And I've been feeling like these changes happening over the last 4 years specifically, and now they're like really like clicking and rooting, and we're about to just fucking take off. And in
mm,
order to really honor that, we have to be with the grief of what was.
mm,
And who I was and all of those different iterations of me and love on those parts and just be with the tenderness of it all. So
Mm.
like I fucking feel you.
Mm. I mean, speaking of grief, it's interesting. I mean, as you know, I'm going through lots of transitions and lots of endings and beginnings right now, and it's been in that way for a while. I sold my business last year, and I'm in the middle of a divorce, and my dog is like kind of, he just, I just was just sharing with you earlier, he's got some like growths on his back, and they think they might be tumors and need surgery, and he's 12, and there's all these decisions around like, how do you know what to do? Like if we have to sell our house and move, then, I have to, like, can I get a new place with him in it? And is that like, is it worth doing surgery? Like there's all these questions and there's all these like interesting things coming up all at the same time. And I would say, I've shared this pretty openly, but like, I don't usually naturally tap into my feelings that easily and my emotions. It's been a great protective nervous system way to just sort of disassociate or to sort of be like, bye bye, I don't feel this human experience. So it takes a lot. And so I recently just got back from Tulum earlier on in the year. I was very intuitively guided there. Um, and then I had something else come up, which I thought I was going to do. And then that ended up not working out. And so I ended up going. The universe was like, you're fucking going and we're going to make this happen. So I booked the trip like a week before I left. And there was this like I was like, why am I going to Tulum? Like, what is it about Tulum? Like, so I hop on the plane and I said to the universe, like, if I'm meant to go to Tulum, like, show me and make it really obvious. And so I went to go look at my points and to sign up to go. And when I went in there, it was like, you can use your points and $300, whatever it is for taxes. And it's like, you can fly business class. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Excuse me.
I was like, oh, because it's usually like $3,000, $4,000,
Yeah.
for at least just for a trip to Cancun. So I was like, the fuck? And so I was like, is this for realsies right now? So that was the universal sign being like, you're supposed to go, bitch. Like, book it. So I booked it. And on the plane, when I got there, like, obviously I've had a lot, like selling a business, and I've got 2 young kids and ending a marriage and like all these different pieces. And like, I've been through many grief and death portals, even from last year to now. And there's been a deep surrender to my mind, just surrendering to what it needs to look like. My mind has a very clear image of what it's going to look like. And I have been fucking humbled over and over and over again because it looks nothing like the way I think it's going to look. And even the trip to Tulum was a very similar experience in my mind. I mentally was like, I'm going to go. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to, like, not party, but like, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to let loose. Like, I haven't had a fun trip.
Yeah.
It's always been Joe Dispenza, or it's been like personal development, or it's been like, and so I was like, this is like for me, and I'm going to go and have fun. And my girlfriend lives down there. And I was like, so I have this whole idea of how it's going to look. So a week before I go, I get sick. My kids are sick, pink eye, fucking colds, like all the shit. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I get sick. I'm like, fuck, it got me. So I'm on the plane, I'm like hacking, and then I'm like I'm like late in business class. I'm like, this is insane. It was like bouge as shit. Thank you, WestJet. I was just like, this is incredible. So I'm on there and I'm like, I'm gonna watch a movie. I throw on Four Weddings and a Funeral. Okay. I'm sick. I'm feeling kind of sorry for myself. I throw on Four Weddings and a Funeral. Anyone who knows that movie knows. I go from laughing my ass off to weeping within like, so I'm like in the back in business class. I'm like a fucking hot mess. I am crying, weeping, laughing, coughing. Like, the lady's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm your best customer, right? So I'm like over there in the corner, like cuddled up, going from like all these emotions. And I put my hand on my chest because I could feel the chest congestion. And as soon as I put my hand on there and I said, what, like, if you could speak to me, what would you say? And I do a lot of somatic work around this. And the chest congestion said, like, I'm sitting here and I'm grief. And you haven't felt me. And I've been here for a very long time. But you move at 100 fucking miles per minute and you avoid me like the plague, bitch. So what am I going to do? I'm going to get you sick. I'm going to slow you down so you can actually feel this. And so, anyways, leading into the trip, it was nothing like I expected. I thought, like, again, like late nights and da 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 da. And like, I go there, my friend, I find out, doesn't drink anymore. None of her friends drink. So it's this like I'm in this like town away from the beach, like, and anyways, it turned out so differently. And throughout the trip, I mean, number one, I just want to say how fucked up this is and how synchronistic it was, is number one, there was jaguar heads everywhere. So like I'm in Tulum and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Everywhere I go, there's jaguar heads. And I'm like, and that if you probably know by now, but that is Kelsey and I's branding. So I was like, whoa, this is fucking nuts. People are wearing jaguar necklaces, bracelets, rings, like everywhere I go, construction companies, it's like jaguar construction. I'm like, what the fuck, flying fuck is happening? So there's that synchronicity. And then throughout the trip, what I think is going to be like party on the beach, DJ fun, like mama's getting fucked up. It turns into like a trauma closing, basically, mini ceremony, minute by minute, day by day. So I get,
No.
yes. So like I get on my friend's scooter, she picks me up, and I had a resistance to renting a scooter. Like everyone rides a scooter there. She picks me up, and within like 2 minutes of being on the back of the scooter with her, I'm like having like a full-blown sensation in my body. I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like I'm on a scooter, and all of a sudden this flash comes in, and I get this like memory, which I completely forgot about, blocked out. But I was on the back of my ex-fiance's when I was 19, like 18, 19, on the back of his motorcycle, and he got in like a funk. And of course I like followed him and was like, no, let me come with you. So the worst idea. And so anyways, we slid on gravel and we totally fucking bailed, and I fell off the bike. I had no memory of it, but being on the back of our scooter triggered that trauma. And I was like, oh my God. So in my mind, I was like, I went and I was like, I'm so sorry you went through that. And I did like a little clearing of it. But thing after thing throughout the trip, like there was, I mean, I don't know if anyone's been to Tulum, but the women there are fucking insane. We're talking Instagram model. I have never seen so many hot women in my fucking life. Okay. It's offensive. So I'm like,
Love this. We love.
everywhere we go to the beach, women everywhere.
Mhm.
And I am getting zero attention. And there's these Instagram models everywhere. And I'm like, and I was like, what is happening right now? And it was bringing up all of the times I felt unworthy and ugly and gross. And I was like, oh, this is about me. Like, I need to look at that, right? Like, I need to look at my judgment of them, even around, like, do you know what I mean? Like, seeing them as better. And I just had this moment where I was like, Christine, you're a mom like of two, and you work out and you do everything you can, but like also like you're comparing yourself to like 20-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like you have to be kind to your, like there was all these things that kept not feeling chosen, like feeling ugly, the motorcycle trauma. There was like all these things that kept coming up around wanting creating a story in my mind that I wanted the trip to be different than what it was. Like I should be over here because maybe over here, like it was almost like all of these loose threads were being brought up. So the trip, my friend at the end of the trip goes, so tell me, what do you think about the energy of Tulum? And I was like, Tulum gives you what you need, not what you want. And Tulum's got a very seductive, it's got a big cat, big dick energy to it.
Mhm.
So I said to her, I was like, it like lures you in with the big cat, big dick energy. And it's like, come to Tulum. It's this magnetic, majestic place. And I'm like, yes. And then it's like, bitch
Bam.
slap. Just kidding. Look at your shit. And I think that's also why people come to Tulum. Like my friend told me this. She's like, they come because it's seductive. And then what happens is their shadow, their trauma, their stuff starts to bubble up
Mhm.
because it's a very feminine energy. It's all in water. So it's like, it's got this very feminine energy. People's shit starts to come up. And then as soon as that happens, like you could feel there was a lot of, and again, I'm generalizing here, but it felt like there was a lot of like spiritual bypass. Like it just was sort of like people, it felt slightly unintegrated with some of the people who are living there, like very spiritual, but it was just like, there was like lacking the human part. And it feels like it confronts you, and then people like peace out. And it's like, where can I go next? Where's the next? Maybe I'll go to Costa Rica. Maybe do you know what I mean? Like, so it has this very unique energy to it. Anyways, all this to say is that it was a very interesting trip. It was not, and like all these things, like I got a burn on my back, and then I was like, what the fuck is that again? When I put my hand on my back of my burn was like, you need to look at all the times you've been deeply burned and betrayed by people, and we're going to sit with that.
Mhm.
So it was like, it was fucking nuts. And then I got pink eye. The fucking pink eye. Okay, so I'm on my trip. I'm thinking like I'm gonna look sexy, pink eye. Universe is like, And then when I was doing some journaling around it, it was like, what is it? And it was like again on my left side,
Feminine.
feminine. So I did some journaling around that, and it was like again about like you've been so in your masculine and you haven't slowed down, and we're going to literally give you the conditions so you can't force, you can't do what you think you're here to do. You're here to really dive into self-love, and you're here to take a really good look at yourself in your life and where these threads that you've been avoiding so that you can fucking close this shit out. Like, so rather than seeing it as like a victimization and it should have been different, it was like, oh, this is exactly what it was meant to be, because the universe is always net positive. It's always looking out for our greatest and highest good. So when shit goes down in your life, rather than saying, why me? It's like, what is this preparing me for? What is this trying to close out so that I can bring usher in this new? And I could feel it. I was like, if I didn't feel those things and make those connections, I would have just seen them as weird things,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be doing this. So it was really opening up. And then again, with the left eye, when I was in England, I got a spark on, I think it was on Christmas Eve. I got like a spark that when like those crackers that you pull,
Oh yeah.
a spark went into my eye and I had to go to the hospital. And again, I'm pretty sure it was the left eye. So I was like, again, processing the pain from that little girl. And then I had another thing where I was having a coughing fit in Tulum, and the memory that came up was me being in the airport. We were leaving England. My family moved around a lot when I was younger. I really didn't want to leave. And I got to the point where my body was coughing, into the point where I would vomit. And so it was like, again, bringing up all of these, like, it was like almost the universe felt like it had orchestrated all of these miniature scenarios in order for me to remember, have that memory come in, to love and to like nurture the version of me who had to endure that pain and then move on. So it feels like I just, again, that's a super long fucking story, but all that to say is just that there is no mistakes, and the universe is going to orchestrate people and places and things in your life. And I think right now we're in this like a very potent time that it's going to bring up shit for us, and it might not look in the way in the packages that we want, but it's trying to get, especially if you're a conscious person with like really cool shit to do in this planet, you're being fucking initiated right now, right into that ending, and right in so that you can let that shit go and you can step into your big, bold, fucking most badass, unhinged, fuck yes, juicy ass self era, that like big cat fucking era or big dick era, right? So I'm believing that fully, and there's no logical, there's no factual sense to that, but it's deep in my bones. I'm like, it's like the universe is like, we've mentally prepared you, and now we're going to show you all the little ways that you need to clean up that old stuff, because we can't move forward and create with a full vessel. So
no, and it reminds me of one of my first mentors, Michael Beckwith. One of his like solid phrases and teachings is the universe is friendly and it's for you. And I always come back to that in seasons of transition. As in seasons of transition, there can be this temptation to slip into victimization of like, I'm victimized by my circumstances, or I'm victimized by the pain in my body, or the sickness, or the pink eye, or whatever it is, or the person not texting back, or whatever's happening, right? It's so easy to slip into that and milk it and like feel sorry for yourself. And for me, that's always been a signal that there's something that I don't want to confront. There's something that I don't want to feel. So if I can like kind of plug into feeling victimized by the circumstances, which has me externalize it a little bit, then I don't have to internally connect to what is there for me to feel, process, see, acknowledge, transmute, let go of. I just don't have to do it. And I also don't have to take action. So it's this wonderful way to kind of stay in the emotional and energetic swamp. And I know this is one of my favorite things to say, and it's one of your favorite things to hear from me, is talking about the fucking swamp. But like, this can happen in these phases of transition where If we're afraid to take the next step, if we're afraid to do the thing that we have to do that will transform our lives and set us on that next path,
Yeah.
we run a very high probability of plugging in to the energetic and emotional swamp where we like literally milk our feelings and we're like, oh, woe is me. Like everything's so hard. Everything's so shitty. Like I just have all of these like really weighted feelings and I'm just gonna fucking like take the swamp mud and like wipe it all over me. And I'm just going to do this like seductive fucking dance in the swamp and let me roll around like a pig in shit, you know? And then be like, why? Why is that?
Why me? I'm laughing because I've been there.
Yeah, same.
I loved it. I was like, do you know how hard I have it? Do you know
hard. It's
how hard
so
this
hard.
is?
It's so hard for me, you know, and I don't want to discount the fact that transitions are hard,
Brutal.
but there's a difference between the this is now turning to sound very sexual. There's a difference between the hardness of like following the path of your up level and making those changes, taking those actions, feeling those feelings, and the hardness that comes from staying stuck, from staying where you've outgrown.
Mm.
And that's a different type of fuckery there, because the longer you stay in places, situations, jobs, relationships that you have outgrown, the swampier your energy becomes. And the swampier your energy becomes, the harder it is to connect to your intuitive knowing. And if you can't connect to your intuitive knowing, then you have a reason to not take action because you're like, I'm so fucking confused. I don't know what to do. Meh.
Again.
Hello. We're just speaking to ourselves right now. Um, and so it's this like little booby trap that we build into our system
Mm-hmm.
prevent us from actually stepping into our most exalted version. And I think that's just a very important thing to name. And I love what you were sharing about all of these tendrils that kind of came up for you in Tulum. And it's been very similar here. Like I didn't get called to Tulum, but I was called to stay here, which was really interesting because I'd been invited to a birthday in Spain. And when I first got invited to that, it was like, fuck yes, like I'm so in. And then I also knew myself and I'm like, I can't say yes based on like being high energy. I have to wait till the energy subsides. And if it's still feeling open and expansive and a yes, then and like closer to the date, then I'll pull like I'll just go for it. So the energy felt pretty smooth until about a month before. And then I started getting this intuitive ping that no. And there were all of these things that came up around it that I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Like, okay, I'm gonna trust that that's just the path I need to go is to not go on this trip, even though I'm fucking bummed. And I would love to go hang out with my friend and celebrate him on his birthday and like you know, do this like adventure. And I also can't override what my body is saying. And so they go on this trip. Then we have like, we're also doing like this new rollout with the company that he's got. So there was just a lot of things that needed to be managed, and I couldn't have managed them if I was there. And also, we did a workshop, a writing workshop on the weekend, and it was called With a Little Help from My Friends. And there was this one prompt he gave us of like, I can't remember exactly the prompt, but it was something to do with like, when was the first time that you remember kind of having to abandon yourself to belong, or to like, you had to give up a part of you in order to fit? And I've been sitting with this distinction of like fitting and belonging for a long time. And I love teaching on that distinction because fitting requires an abandonment of self and belonging is a true acceptance of self. and you find people who also accept you, and that's where you will feel true belonging, is when you're being yourself.
Mm.
But what that workshop brought up was these like very high sensation memories of being in 6th grade. And all of a sudden, my friends one day decided that they didn't want to be friends with me anymore. And they ran away from me on the playground. And it was so fucking traumatizing. And then I teach a class yesterday, and the prompts that I'd written out, I do them with everyone as well. And I always instruct them of like, just trust whatever comes out. Like your mind is going to think you want to answer it in a certain way, but there's going to be the truth that hits like through your pen and the paper, and just roll.
Mhm.
And so as I'm like writing my answer to one of these prompts, all of a sudden I start getting flashes from like earlier on. So like,
Mm.
6th grade wasn't the first time. And what came up was this like very visceral trauma from the 1st grade, when
Mm.
we had to move cities. And I was not only terrified of making that move, but also I was in such grief of having to say goodbye to my friends.
Mm.
And then we moved to this other city. And for 2 years, we lived there. And for 2 years, it is so difficult for me to make friends.
Mm.
And as I went through yesterday and kind of reconnected to that very young part of myself, what she told me, she was like, I just needed someone to like hear me in the fact that that was hard and that was painful, and someone to understand my pain, because no one ever actually understood that, how fucking traumatic and how scary that is as a young kid, getting plunked into a whole new environment and then dismissed in terms of like, oh, you'll just make new friends, it's fine, you'll just make new friends, it's easy. And like, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy at all. And that was the moment where like I started to like develop these adaptations, develop these personas, develop these ways of being, to not only protect myself from the pain of feeling lonely, isolated, rejected, like I didn't belong, but also like I'm going to kind of become this version so that I can at least have something, because something is better than nothing. And then I can see how that has like woven itself through almost every relationship I've had, and a lot of the friendships that I've had prior to moving to Vancouver.
Mm.
Something happened when I made that choice to go like all in on my life and all in on myself and follow this intuitive ping to move to another city. And
Mm.
like, it was wild. It's actually my 15-year anniversary today. So 15 years ago, I moved to Vancouver. And what's interesting is that I just picked a day. I didn't wait for like the circumstances to be perfect. I knew that I needed to go, and I knew that if I didn't pick a day and commit to that, it would never happen. And so I just picked a couple days after my brother got married, because I was like, well, he's got his wedding and then we'll probably have some stuff after that, and like I'll go a few days after they get married.
Mm.
And I just went all in on myself. It made no logical sense. I didn't know anyone aside from an ex and a woman that I used to work with. I didn't have a job. Like I had nothing lined up. Like I didn't have the community kind of set in place. I
Mm.
didn't have a job set in place. I didn't have a house. Like I had nothing. But I
Mm.
was like, I know I'm supposed to go. And I can't keep staying in this life, in this chapter that I've outgrown.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to fucking do it. I'm going to put my fucking ass on the line, go 2 feet in, pick a day, pack my car, and leave, and trust that the universe has got me. Like that was probably the biggest trust fall I've ever done with the
Mm.
universe, of like just expecting it to work out for me.
Yes.
It was once I kind of committed, went all in, and started following that flow, that's when the magic started. That's when the synchronicities really ramped up. That's when
Mm.
new community came in, where for the first time I felt like I belonged. with these people. And I really believe the only reason that community started to form and get created was because I chose myself for the first time. And so I've been like sitting with all of these fucking layers for the last couple weeks of meeting these younger parts and grieving with them and holding them and loving them and being like, okay, like that was really hard, and reparenting myself and like giving those younger parts what they needed that they didn't get back then, so that we can move forward powerfully. We can step into this next up level, whatever it's going to look like, whatever, this big cat energy that we're riding right now, meow, meow, wherever it's going to take us. Right. And it feels really, really beautiful. And also, it's been really, really confronting. And I think that is important to highlight, because when we listen to podcasts or we look at people on Instagram who have followings or like teachers or blah, 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 like sometimes we can compare like the way that we're feeling against the projected image that they're letting you see online. You're not seeing the behind the curtain. And I think what we do quite well is we pull down that curtain. We're like, this is me. Like, this is what you're going to get. Like, I'm the same online as I am offline.
Yes.
Like, there's nothing that would probably surprise you. I mean, obviously, there are details of my life that I keep, close and private for like a certain small group of people. Not everybody gets that level of access to me, but my overall persona, my overall essence, my overall character does not change. Whether you see me online, you see me in a coaching call, you hear me on a podcast, like you're getting a nice representation of the truth of who I am. And that's taken time to cultivate. It's taken time to land here. And it requires going through the fucking swamp. It requires going and meeting those edges and feeling those feelings and meeting those parts that have been disowned and alone and isolated for so long. And I really think like when we have like deep loneliness that we feel, it's because there are parts of us that we are disconnected from,
Yeah.
that we haven't created intimacy with. And so like they are literally locked out of the essence of you. And that's what kind of amplifies that energy of loneliness, because we're not totally available to parts of us. And as we open those doors and welcome them in to have a seat at the table, that's when solitude starts to feel really nourishing. That's when, our system is actually open to connection. It's open to community. It's open to love. It's open to partnership. But like if our system is closed, and it would be closed if we're resisting feeling what we need to feel in these seasons of change, then we're always going to keep all of those things that we want at arm's length, or we'll just repel them altogether, because like there's no place for them to land. There's no place for them to click in. There's no reception. So by clearing the emotional debris and like getting out of the emotional and energetic swamp, you create space and reception to call in the things that you truly desire. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, but it's not an easy thing at all.
Making me so excited for next week for our call inside the club. Yeah. Just as you're speaking, I mean, first of all, what was coming in is that if you're in the club, take a look at our a couple of our master classes, just because it just pinged in as we were having this conversation, is that navigating the void. So you and I did a Sunday sermon together on we go way deeper than in the podcast, but exercises, live coaching, like all sorts of stuff around like how to navigate this season, because it is a very challenging season. It activates the nervous system. We talk a lot more in depth about the nervous system and what to do during that time and what is actually happening during change. And then it just like pinged me where I was like, I hope I put that in the portal. But I have a masterclass called Just Fucking Do It. And you were talking about just getting up and moving.
Yeah.
I have a masterclass literally that I ran called Just Fucking Do It. And it's sort of this playful idea around like, what if you just fucking like, what would life be like if you just actually decided and you just said fuck it and you just looked at like, what's going to make the better story? Like when I'm 95 or 100 years old, am I going to look back and be like, what's the fucking story I want to tell? Is it going to be that I sat there in fear and I let that run me? Or was it like taking control of my life and just starting to be more bold and wild and start like playing more? And then next week on our coaching call, um, we're diving into, I mean, we'll probably do this on so many of our coaching calls, but every month inside of the club, in tier 2, we have 3 live sessions a month with us, but one of those is a live coaching call. So Kelsey and I will do tons of like rapid fire hot seat coaching, block clearing. Last time we did on our last webinar together, we did unconventional manifestation, and we were talking about manifestation blocks, and we're going to be diving so much into those, helping people. People are so excited about that because I'm like, let's just get right into there. Because I know for me, like I'm able to, and it sounds like for you as well, like when these pieces and parts start to arise that we've abandoned or neglected, or feel unintegrated, we have the bandwidth and the kind of the awareness now to be able to meet them in the moment and to reintegrate them. But that would took a really long time. And for a lot of my clients, and just, in general, it's harder to know even where to start or how to access them because they are, you need co-regulation, you need safety to be able um, to feel them. And so in these coaching sessions, that's where we're going to be working with you somatically a lot with like, does your 4-year-old live in your shoulder? Does your 6 and it's not a cognitive thing. Like people are like, how do I figure this out by myself? I'm like, well, number one, you're trying to lone wolf it. So that makes a lot of sense, right? So this is where community and co-regulation and doing it together is so good for the nervous system in creating changes and navigating transition. This is why we're building our community that we are of authentic people who are really ready to be raw, because when you start seeing other people living their truth, navigating change like a fucking badass, and being willing to say fuck yes to life and sort of unsubscribe from the very boring, very beige, untraditional lives. It's very inspiring, and it also shows your nervous system that like, and it's a constant reminder that shit, they're doing it, and let's just split a healthy competition. Let me be inspired by that. And so that's such a big thing, is that I know for me, sometimes when I'm not in a community and I forget all the time. I'm surrounded by my family, and surrounded by, whoever I'm in close proximity to. And those people have a massive impact on the decisions we make and whether we're willing to navigate change or initiate change or to leave a job. Like when I work with people and they're like, what do you think about this crazy idea? And they're almost like saying it quietly. I'm like, fuck yeah, yeah, let's fucking go. Of course you can do that. They're like, wait, what? And like my confidence and my unwavering confidence, because I've had to do it myself. I can only champion somebody and say, yeah, do that thing, because I've fucking done it on you and I over and over and over again. And we've had faith and we have stories and we have evidence and proof that it fucking works. And so I have no fear for people when they come to me with a big, bold idea. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yep.
And so I think that can change everything. So I think finding yourself either coming into our club or finding yourself a community where you're going to be championed and people are going to remind you of who the fuck you are. Truthfully, not your conditioning and not your limitations and not the shit that was put on you as a kid, but the truth of who you are. And is going to be able to see through your bullshit and call you out and be like, not call out, call forward. Come on now. Like, let's go. Like, what do you want to design? Like, I was talking about this on our last call, but it's like, this is what, like, we're in the era right now where we need authenticity and we need to fall back in love with ourselves and our lives. I am so not here for, I hate my life and I have nothing, I can't do anything, I can't change it. I'm like, you absolutely can. There's some steps that we can guide you through to help you get there quickly. It's not going to take long. It's not going to be hard. It's just take consistency. And so I think, do you like how jazz? I'm getting like so excited. I'm like, where the fuck was I even talking about? I don't even know. I'm like, where am I going with this?
I'm into it.
I'm just
do more.
I'm excited about this and what we're creating. And even when you said before, I think the difference between you and I, what we were creating and where we're creating with Club Unhinged, is that, like you were talking about when you moved, it wasn't necessarily the perfect time. And it kind of came out of nowhere and you just decided and you went all in. That's when the universe takes note. When we're wobbly and we're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and when we're kind of like, I'm going to wait and see if this works a little bit. And then if it shows me that it's working, then I'll go all in. The universe is like,
No.
it's the reverse. You got to go all in. You got to know it. You got to believe it. You got to fucking just act as if that is happening no matter what. And then I'm going to like supercharge all the fucking universal energies and I'm going to make that shit happen for you. And
Mhm.
anytime I've done that, it has fucking us out. When I've decided, it doesn't matter if it's been a coach, a program, a mentorship, even when I went in for that year-long coaching program, I had no idea how I was going to pay for it.
Yeah.
No fucking idea. And I was like, I don't know, but my soul is calling me. And I was
Mhm.
like, universe, if I'm meant to, show me. And the universe was like, fucking boom. And like, I've paid, it was like, it's been nuts. But I have so much faith in now. And I think for you and I with this club that we're creating is that from the start, you and I were not like, okay, well, maybe we'll just have a think and then, we'll just sort of see how it goes. You
Mentally
and I were like,
activated.
mentally masturbate it. You and I were like, let's go. We're
Light it.
fucking in. Let's light this bitch up. We don't know. Are people going to think we're nuts? Who fucking cares? We don't care.
Probably.
We pre-canceled ourselves already. We were just like, let's go. And to see people's excitement and to see people joining our club and to see this community building right now and to see it expanding and to see the people who show up on the calls and their willingness to go. Like, I was blown away by our first call and inside the club. I mean, we had, people accessing stuff in them that they, didn't even know was there. And I think the cool thing is we're all creating the safe environment for people to just have the spaciousness to allow whatever is rising to be there. And in that, it liberates trauma and it starts to like reintegrate these pieces of ourselves. And you and I aren't even trying. We're just showing up and being like, however you are today, we accept you. We're fucking great. Totally. You want to be like, you want to have a meltdown? Fucking have at her.
Do it.
We're not going to coast. We're not going to sit there and let you go on forever, but we're going to be like, yeah, sure. If you're angry, you think we're fucking idiots, have at her, man.
Yeah.
Like, go.
Tell us what you think.
Tell us what you think. So it just feels fun. And I think that's the difference is that if you're in a state of transition right now, sometimes you just need to accept if you're not ready, you're not ready. And when you are, you're going to fucking know.
Mhm.
And, I've seen it, people in relationships, people in jobs, people, and they say the same thing. I know I need to leave. I know it's not the right thing for me. I know. And then there's almost this shame that gets layered on. And I'm just like, hey, no, what if you're an empowered person making a decision that right now you're choosing to stay in that relationship? Like for me, I wasn't ready to leave my relationship. I knew it wasn't right for me and I knew it was unhealthy and I knew it was toxic.
Yep.
But what I wasn't ready. My soul, there was still a part of me who was hooked energetically into that and was an energetic match for that relationship. I hadn't done the work.
Mhm.
I'd done some of the work, but I hadn't done all the work. And so there was still a hook there. And so I think if you're in a state, it's just like, it's very empowering to say, yeah, no, I'm going to choose this thing for right now.
Mhm.
And it's a daily choice. It's just a daily choice. And one day you're going to wake up, and it might be Kelsey and I knocking at your door and you're like, oh man, I know these, I need to join this club, but I don't know. And then your soul's gonna be like, oh, I'll just message them. And you and I'll be like, fuck yeah, come on
Let's
in.
go.
And we'll just, there'll be a time where you're ready to just do that. But I think that not layering shame on top of it, it's just like I'm a person making a choice that I'm not ready to make that change. And that's okay. But you
Yeah.
will be. And that when you are ready to navigate that change, we're here for you. And we have been through many dark night of the souls ourselves, many initiations, many death and rebirths, many burn it to the ground. I mean, relationships, businesses. We
All
have, all of it. I mean, I said the other day, I'm like, there was a part of me who's so afraid to say anything online or say anything um, in courses because I was like, I realize how much I changed though. And what if I say this thing and then later on somebody could use it against me or they could say, well, you don't know what you're talking about because you were so da 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 da. And I was like,
2004.
yeah, to 2004, you said this thing that wasn't in alignment with what you're saying now. And who are you? I was like, it was all of that. Like, again, that just feels like almost like witch hunt type of shit, right? But it's like, at the end of the day, I'm not afraid of somebody saying, you said that thing. And I'd be like, yeah, I did at that time. And you know what? That was my level of consciousness. And that material will resonate with somebody at that level of consciousness.
100%.
I don't need to be palatable to everybody. I just need to speak my truth and trust that in the moment, that's the truth and to the best of my ability. And in 2 weeks, I might know something different and share it, but I'm willing to say, yeah, it's different from when I said 2 weeks. So I
Yeah.
think there's like, do you know what I mean? But again, it takes time to be able to get to that state of trust and to
Apologetic.
yeah, unapologetic acceptance. And I think that's the thing, is that when we're stepping into change and transition, it's going to bring up all of your own and other people in your life's fears about you, right? Like, oh, well, I remember when I was opening up my fitness studio, people were like, do you think it's really a good time? The economy's not very good. What if you get a lease? What if you can't pay off your loans? Da, 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 da. And I also, and I mean, and I was a fucking cowboy. I had no business experience. I had no accounting experience, no finance experience, no business experience. All I had was a spiritual awakening. And I was like, I am going to help people, change their bodies and live great lives. And I want an inclusive space. And I was just like a little wee nugget. I mean, I got my fucking ass handed to me.
Huh?
But would I change it? No, because I became the woman I am today through that fucking chaos. And a message to any parents out there right now is that, I know for me, there's times where I'm like, oh my God, am I like, I want to get all in there, my kids and helicopter and be like, oh, I want you to avoid pain. And I just realized, like, if somebody had tried to muddle in my learnings and my teachings, like, we rob people of growth in those scenarios, right? We grow through contrast, we grow through friction. So if you're experiencing friction right now, it's a fucking great sign. You're alive. Life is coming to you saying, knock, knock. You got epic shit to do. You've outgrown this version of yourself. You've outgrown this life. And we're not meant to stay stagnant, which is why we so consciously create these lives. And then we're like, we're like, I've created it. And the universe is like, knock, knock. We're like, nobody's home. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I don't want to change.
Playpen.
No, I want to stay in my playpen. Don't go. And it's like, time to get bigger and bolder. And you're like,
There's a playground. Do you know there's a playground outside of the playpen? Like, get the fuck out of there.
oh, it has bigger slides and monkey bars, and it has crazy shit and a water park. And we're like, no, I don't want to see that. Well, I want to see the water park, but I don't want to see the water park. Right? It's like I think when we can play with our human a bit more, and we can just surround. I just want to reiterate this. I think surrounding yourself with a community of people who are up to big, bold things and are being unapologetically themselves and are willing to really be real and authentic is such a big piece of it, because I know for me, when I surround myself in those rooms, I am doing shit at hyper speed. Because again, when we're just with people who have sort of co-signed, my friend even in Tulum, she was laughing, but she goes, because she came there and she's like, okay, I'm feeling really stuck and stagnant and da da da. And I was like, and I'd had 2 margaritas by this point. And when I have margaritas, my fucking channel goes fucking out of control. I was like, do you really want to know what I want to think? She's like, oh no. I'm like, what? Yeah. She's like, yes, I do. I'm like, your 2-year-old's fucking pissed. I said, you need to be with your 2-year-old. It was like this whole thing. And like throughout the trip, she's like, what do you think about this? And I was like, I hate it. She's like, what? I'm like, I fucking hate it. No, absolutely not. I'm like, that is not you. Come on. I mean, I can go into that, and I can fucking play with her because she's good. She's super psychic as well. But it's just that, like, she said, you know what? It's refreshing because I realize that the people here have been co-signing my bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which most people do, right? They're not invested in our massive transformation and evolution. It's like crabs in the bucket.
Yes.
When one of us starts to be like, what's over the bucket? I wonder if there's a bigger, bolder life. It's like, you're trying to climb out of the bucket and go into the big playground with the water park is making me very uncomfortable. So rather than me elevating myself, I shall grab your leg and I shall pull you back into the bucket.
Yep.
That's what we do all the time, because we don't want people doing stuff because it triggers our own remembrance that we are living a fucking beige life. We don't want that shit.
No, we want
right?
Technicolor.
I want somebody who's going to trigger me. I want somebody who's going to say, ooh, who does she think she is? She's 40 and she's going to Tulum by herself without her kids. Don't her kids need her? I mean, I don't know if anyone's thinking that, but maybe. Who is she to sell her gym and fucking start a podcast and start a brand new thing and do this thing and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I wore a crop top the other day because I fucking can. Who is she midday having a spicy margarita at the Fairmont Pack Ramp? Me, because I fucking want to. Because it's authentic to me. It's an expression. It's not me. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all these pieces. So I just think it's just playfulness, man. Like you fucking came here to play. Like I just feel like I'm speaking to somebody. I don't know who it is right now. Maybe you're on the call and you're like, this is me. But I feel like we came here to play and we came here to gamble. We
Mhm.
came here to get right up to the high stakes table. And we may start at the 1 cent slot machines. Now I'm getting a casino analogy, but it's like number one, you have to be willing to cash in your victim chips if you want to be a big, bold fucking person in this lifetime. Number one, you have to go up to the counter. You have to say, it's like, give me your victim chips. And we're like, no. And it's like, give me the victim chips and you shall have some money to play with. No. Finally, we're like, fine, okay, fine. It's like, but will I win? Will I get my ROI? And it's like, we don't know. What are you going to play?
I know.
So eventually we cash them in, we get the chips, and sometimes we might go to the 1 cent slot machine and that feels good. And then we might upgrade to the blackjack table, and then we might be at roulette, and then we might be fucking making it rain, being like, let's fucking go, right? But it's just that we have to be willing to lose and we have to be willing to win. And I think the thing is within the club is that we are going to hold you in your fucking chaos and mayhem.
Yep.
And we're going to help you remove blocks and we're going to help you fast track your transformation. And we're going to celebrate you when you have that massive month and you have that relationship that you just called in, and we're going to champion the shit out of you. And that's the thing is that like we're not just one size fits all. We're just teaching this thing. We're just like your authentic expression is going to look very different from mine and from yours. And it's not a space where we're trying to make everyone be like
Same.
everyone else. Exactly. We want people to come alive and come online, and that's going to be different for everyone. The main thread though that weaves through everybody is that you and I are holding the container and the frequency of your unleashing your authenticity, you unhinging from the old paradigm and unsubscribing from it so that you can like be like activated and catalyzed and come alive.
Yes.
And that everyone can exist together. We don't need somebody to not be that because it makes us uncomfortable. We're like, if that makes you uncomfortable, that's
Excellent.
spicy. Excellent.
Working.
Working feels good.
Yeah. And whether like you're uncomfortable because, it's reflecting a piece of you that you're not fully stepping into,
Mm-hmm.
or it's triggering you because there's like an older, younger part of you that needs love and needs to be integrated, or maybe it's reflecting like the changes you don't want to make. And I love so much of what you said, but like a couple of the threads that really pinged for me of like, if you're not making the changes that you need to make, it is so much better to just admit that and be like, I'm choosing to not move. I'm choosing to stay where I'm small. I'm choosing the fucking playpen. And there's empowerment in that. There really is, because once you make peace with reality, that's when you can actually move. But like if you're fighting it and like telling yourself this fucking fib that like, yeah, I'm so committed to like this change, but like actually I'm not going to do anything about it, you create resistance. And that resistance is like the fucking fast track to the swamp. Like you want to take like
The
a little
slide, jump on the slide, it goes right into the swamp.
and then you're stuck. And then you're there. So you may as well just tell the fucking truth on yourself. Radical honesty, unapologetic honesty. I literally, this is not going to surprise you, but I taught on this yesterday
Shocker.
of like, you know what? You've got to admit to yourself what is really true, even if it's ugly, even if there is a part of your image that doesn't like the fact that you are actually the type of person who is going to choose staying stuck over evolving. Like all of us have that spot. And so if you can just admit it to yourself that this is actually where I'm at on the map today, and in 5 minutes from now, I can choose differently. That's the cool part. But like you're not going to be able to powerfully choose differently if you don't admit reality. So you have to admit reality first, admit where you are, and then you either consciously like go for it. Like I don't remember the example I gave them, but I was like, if you're like in a fucking mood, then just fucking own it. Like go all into it. Like if you're gonna be there, like be all in
Yes.
and at least give it, the good old college try here.
Well, so much of our suffering is from resistance of what is. Like,
Yeah.
it's so much of the pain in our lives is created from playing a story out. And it's like, you just are. Right now I'm angry. And you can see how when you meet that, I'm not going to go on a tangent on this, but like when you meet that part, and even if you just say, right now I'm choosing to stay in this relationship, even though it sucks. I'm going to choose to stay in this job, even though I fucking hate it.
Mhm.
And it's a choice of mine. You can feel the energetic around that. There's just this like, boom.
Yeah.
It just is. There's an isness. And when there is that isness and that sort of peace for a second, oftentimes it's like the thing that makes us ready to all of a sudden change out of the blue, because we're not creating a story that the power to change lies outside of ourself.
Yeah.
If that person was different, if my boss was different, if only this thing would happen, and we constantly put the answer on the other person, if, when, then, and it's just like a way that we sneakily keep ourselves stuck. But when we say, I'm choosing this shitty job, and we just accept it, sometimes there's just this like, oh, well, fuck, I am.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I want to choose that anymore.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
That's where like the activation of your empowerment happens, is when you actually make peace with reality and you're bold enough to claim the fact that you're choosing something that is in opposition to what your soul wants for you or your heart's truest desire. And we do this all the time. Like, you see people say, like, I really want like my soulmate relationship. And yet they're making choices in the back end of their life that it is just not congruent with having that.
Yeah.
And so if you can admit, like, I'm making all of these choices in all these other areas of my life that are incongruent with the thing that I say that I want, at least you've got the spot on the map of where you need to begin to do the work. You know where you are. But like, if you can't admit that, then you'll stay in the swamp and you won't know where you are because the swamp is fucking swampy. And it does, like, the whole purpose of the swamp is to keep you kind of fogged out so that you don't know where you are on the map, so that you can't actually make a shift and make a change. And so there's, I mean, if you're in the swamp, we're not making that wrong at all, because we both have swampy moments and we both have had seasons of the swamp, and like we know what that's like, and we've also like made our way to the other side, and we can see like what's possible when we just admit reality and we powerfully advocate, like, yes, this is what I'm choosing. And yeah, it's not pretty. Like, I don't love this about myself, that I'm choosing, as you said, to stay in the relationship or the job or the city or the country or whatever it is. Sometimes it's our body. Like, I'm choosing to like not take care of me, and I'm making that choice. And if you can just admit that to yourself, that's what creates the opening to choose something different. I learned that distinction when I first went through Landmark like 15 years ago, 16 years ago. They have this like conversation. They're like, chocolate or vanilla, choose, and like it fucks everyone up, because they're like, why are you choosing what you're choosing? And nobody fucking gets it until they get it. And they're like, wait, I'm choosing it because I'm fucking choosing it. That's it. There's no fucking reason. There's no justification. There's nothing else to it other than the fact that I'm choosing it because I'm choosing it. And when I choose it because I choose it, it means that I can choose differently at any given point in time. And that's a really, really powerful place to be. P.S. You're on mute. I saw you like nodding along, and I'm like, I can't hear her. And I'm like, oh, she's muted.
Why the fuck am I muted? Universe is like, all right, Christine, you've talked enough.
Out of you.
I mean, I just fucking love that. And I think that's the thing, is like when one of the greatest and hardest things was self-responsibility. And we maybe on our next show, we can go into self-responsibility more. But I remember there's two things that really are pinging in for me. I remember one of the most impactful statements, and I heard it one time. And she said, like, it was along the lines of like, there hits a point in our life where I had to come to the realization that, like, Christine, nobody's coming to save you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody's coming to save you from your pain, from
Yep.
your overweight body or whatever, or like your relationship or your shitty career. Like, and I remember, at first I was like, that's harsh,
Mean.
mean. And I didn't like it, but there was also this like deep internal stirring of like a knowing of like, well, shit, damn, like nobody is coming to save me. And
Yep.
I think just realizing that and being like, if I'm going to make changes, it's going to have to come from me. And if it's going to come from me, like there was all these parts of my life that I didn't want to accept.
Mm-hmm.
I was very proud of the shiny parts. I'm a Lululemon ambassador and I own a business. And there's these parts I was so happy about. But there was a part of me who's like, but I didn't have anything to do with the relationship demise or my unhealthy patterns or my like blown up friendships or any of those parts. It was like a complete rejection of half of my life. Half is good, half is bad. And so it wasn't until I realized that, like, well, shit, there's only two options. I either am the conscious creator of my life and I co create, my life with others and the universe, or I am a victim to it. There's two choices.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to this thing because there's part of me who couldn't reconcile, like, well, why would I choose that shitty thing or that thing I didn't want? And that's when I had to do some like really deep self-forgiveness and just a reconciliation around the fact that like it wasn't like I didn't fuck me up originally. Like that was collective conditioning and parents and all the things, right? And it's like that initial isn't that, but is our responsibility as we get older to be the ones to make the changes. If we're waiting on our parents or we're waiting on that partner who betrayed us or waiting on the friend who should be the one apologizing, we're going to be waiting forever because we're at the mercy of them and their consciousness versus saying, yeah, my unconscious and my nervous system likes familiarity and it likes the picking. Like you said, when you were friends with like friends younger and they humiliated you and they ran away and rejected you, right? Like that coding is in the system. And so like for me, I can relate to a lot of what you said. Like I had friends humiliate me and I was so desperate for friendship that I would take painful relationship versus no relationship. And so that came through my whole lifetime of choosing relationships and staying in them, even if they were wildly painful and they were like men would cheat and all these things, because I was very used to
Yeah.
staying in things that were painful. It was very familiar for me. So I could go into a whole victim state around like how they did this and blah, blah, but it's looking like, well, how did I get myself in relationships with these men? Because a healthy woman wouldn't stay.
Mm-mm.
And it's not my fault that those things happen, but it is my responsibility to start to acknowledge and go back to those parts and to say, fuck, that really sucked.
Yeah.
And let me be there for you and let me make you feel heard and seen and validated so that you can come back online.
Yeah.
Is that little girl who I shut down? She's the spicy one. She's the one who wants to do a Club Unhinged. Like it wasn't until I brought her back online, the crazy, wild, one that she came back online that I could even do this with you because like these parts had to be reintegrated.
Mhm.
And so I think, we could probably dive into this on another podcast episode. But I think just in general, it's just that, just the understanding of, if we want change and we want to be in a state of transition, which means there's new, fresh experiences on the other side of that, we have to be willing to look and accept the idea that we are responsible for our lives, good or bad, and that it doesn't mean that we're a bad person or that we intentionally created those things, but that we unconsciously created a lot of what we don't want and also in order to heal as well. Like we don't know where we are in our level of consciousness until we rub up against contrast and then we get a chance to go into the arena or the game and see where we're at. So
Yeah. Like, I don't know that either of us would have really kind of landed the plane on that humiliation and betrayal wound if it had kind of laid dormant in our lives. Like it played out in our romantic relationships because both of us are so fucking stubborn that
mhm,
if it had shown up in any other area of our life, we could have bypassed it. We could have like overstepped it. But we we had to meet it in those
mhm,
romantic containers, and that was the spicy edge that woke both of us up, and we're like, fuck, like I've got this going on in the back end, like I need to clean it up here.
yes,
And so we all have those spots on our roadmap. And we're so excited for, all the women in the club and for everyone who comes into the club in the future to be able to dive in, figure out where you are on the map, and, make those conscious choices, whether, you're choosing to stay where you want to stay or you're choosing to make, new moves. Like, we're going to support you through wherever you're at, because all of it belongs. And yeah, we're going to put the links to the club in the show notes. So if you have been feeling the resonance, you're feeling the vibe, there are currently 2 levels that you can come in at. We're going to be introducing the 3rd level probably after our next webinar, I think. That feels good. And then our mastermind, the business mastermind, we've postponed that to the fall, I think we decided, so that we can play with these like initial tiers of the club first. And if you'd like to come and play, if you have questions, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you've got. And Christine, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up today?
Well, just that it's like such a great time to come in right now because we're still in our founders, we're still offering founders rates, which are like half off basically are the regular rates. We made it really accessible. You can get inside the club starting at $47 right now a month. And it's so amazing. Like when I look at, and even the tier 2, it's like 97 right now and a month. And I mean, I look at what's in there, our signature courses and our 3 live calls with you a month and like our whole library of meditations and classes and master classes and courses. And I think it's really cool because we do have a very diverse offer suite. It's not just sort of all in one topic. We have and like, our titles, I mean, our titles are like, just fucking do it, slow the fuck down. Like it's all these different, and I think
the void.
riding the void. I think because we keep, well, I mean, that's the biggest thing is our intention was to keep personal development fun and accessible. And I think the thing is there's a lot of personal development burnout right now. And from people, being heavy or I'm so tired of doing personal development. And it's like, well, what if we could make it fun and easy to understand? And I mean, you and I think because we've gone down the spiritual bypass route, the mindset route, the like sort of all these traditional ways you and I have kind of crafted, I think, especially with the live call series that we have in tier 2, is that there's a teaching and a transmission that are all channeled from us, and that we have like live on the workshop. We have, things that you can do on the workshop that we're prompting you with. So you're actually getting transformation in the workshops, but we have your embodiment session, which is all about taking that month's content and like landing it in the body. And then we have also the coaching call where we're helping you like dissolve blocks. And I mean, you and I's coaching is like $1,000 an hour. So this is like insanely great value. You come in, you get live hot seat coaching from Kelsey and I. We'll do somatic stuff with you, block clearing, like all this stuff I think is amazing because you're getting a lot of value and it's hitting all of the transformational points. It's mind, body, spirit. So you're actually getting, that's why you get such quick transformation, is because we're not just working from the mind, or we're not just working from the body, or like, it's not just one modality. It's like you and I have sort of crafted a method and a blend it's like, how do you actually transform, right? And I think that's been you and I's question for decades around like, how do you actually transform? And I think once you've been through you've gathered so many data points, you're like, oh, this is actually the quickest way. Because that's the thing, we're not winning if people aren't transforming and changing their lives. Like you and I aren't getting anything. Like that's not exciting for me. So I want to see transformation. I want to see big, bold thing. And that's what's been, really exciting. So we want to see you inside the club. And if you know anybody that you think would be a good fit for the club, please let us know. We always love to give you shout outs and to, give you little rewards and things like that. And, obviously word of mouth and creating connection and referrals is so valuable to us, and we really appreciate it. So, I hope to have you inside.
And if you've really gotten value out of this episode, we would love if you shared it with someone in your life who you think also would benefit from this conversation. If you want to share it on social media, that is wildly helpful. It helps this conversation get into the hearts of the people who need it. And if you want to subscribe, we would love that too, because we're so stoked to be here with you.
And tag us on your takeaways. If you got takeaways, or if you listen to the episode, tag us, because we love to repost you and give you a shout out.
Yes. And we'll be back next week for who knows what will happen next week.
Fucking knows.
Love you, friend.
I love you.
All in all, we want to say thank you for being here. We love and appreciate you so much. And if you liked today, give us a 5-star rating. And we'll see you next week.
And share it. If you know somebody who needs this in their life, share this shit. Abundance goes round and round. We love you.
We love you.
Bye.